What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over several tips to hopefully help you stop losing to Dr. Doom in Fortnite Season 4. As always, if you guys do find this video to be helpful, informative, interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below if you've been able to beat Dr. Doom in Fortnite. So, with last week's update, we did get a reduction to the boosted spawn rate of Doom Island. I believe at one point it was up to like 30% or so. Now the spawn rate for Doom Island is currently at 12%. So there's a 12% chance in every match that Doom Island will end up spawning when Loot Island does in 4th Zone. I've seen a lot of confusion with this where people thought that Doom Island was going to be removed in the Iron Man update, but that is not the case. It was just the massively boosted spawn rate of it. Doom Island, or the ability to become Dr. Doom, is said to remain in the game until October 5th. That is what Fortnite said in the past. So we do have a little bit longer of Doom remaining in the game. The first and biggest piece of advice I can give you to hopefully help you beat Dr. Doom or stop losing to Dr. Doom at least is going to just be to prevent anybody from becoming Dr. Doom by fighting on Doom Island. I made an entire video about this already, which goes into more detail. It'll be linked down in the description below. But if you want to stop losing to Dr. Doom, preventing anybody from becoming Dr. Doom, I think is a lot easier than actually beating Doom in a fight himself. I will talk about beating Doom in a fight, but I would, if you hate the concept of Dr. Doom, I would highly encourage you to fight on Doom Island. Having things like the Siphon Medallion and the Scan Medallion make these fights a lot easier, but also having mobility makes these fights a lot easier as well, because if you have something like the Jetpack or the Shuri Claws, you can easily just jump off of Island and come back. And with the Doom Island being a often sought after kind of thing, these fights get really chaotic, and so just being there to potentially third party and clean up fights is often going to be enough. With like, if there's like 5 people fighting on Doom Island, it's not like you need to go there and eliminate every single one of them. You know, you can jump off of Island here for fighting, maybe here when the fighting like is starting to die down or stop, and then rift up and try to clean up the fight yourself. As long as you prevent somebody from capturing it, you won't have to play against Doom. It's not like you have to eliminate every single player going for it, you know? So just getting out of there, resetting the fights, taking advantage of the rifts, and just kind of, you know, like getting in fights, backing off constantly, I think does make these like chaotic fights a little bit easier to manage, but they are chaotic and that can get pretty random at times. Like I said, I did make a video more about that topic. As far as fighting against Dr. Doom, if someone is able to capture it and become Doom, the biggest piece of advice I have is to just use mobility and keep your distance. Most attacks that Doom has can't really hit you that well if you're in the air, so take advantage of this, especially with the War Machine hover jets. You can kind of jetpack up and then shoot down on him, and a lot of his attacks, he kind of wants to be the one above, throwing stuff down on somebody on the ground. His laser beam attack, where he does like a consistent green laser beam, is the thing that can easily hit you if you're in air. So whenever he goes for that play, I just try to completely leave. And I do like using double mobility items regardless this season. But for fighting against Dr. Doom, I feel like having the Shuri Claws and the War Machine hover jets is really nice, because whenever he does get close to me, or whenever he does go for that green like constant energy beam, I just pop the claws and try to get out of there. Managing your jetpack fuel is essential, though. If you ever lose jetpack fuel or run out of jetpack fuel in a situation where Doom is close enough to be able to like get on you, you're probably just going to lose the fight there. So it's kind of a tough situation, because you need to use the jetpack to fight him for the most part, but also you don't want to use it too much that you completely run out of fuel. You need to be like constantly worried about how much fuel you have and getting away and resetting and letting this regenerate over time. That's another reason why I like having both mobility items, just to like hopefully get away. In team game modes, I would try to take out his teammates first if possible, since most of the consistent firepower will come from them. And it's also easier to eliminate them since their HP is lower. Like I said, a lot of Doom's abilities don't work very well if you're in the air. But for a lot of his teammates, if they have ARs, it's not going to be that hard for them to shoot you out of the air, you know? So I would try to eliminate them first or knock them first if possible, and then focus on Doom later. Doom is a threat, but you can get away from him and hopefully be in air to the point where he can't hit you, and then kind of whittle his health down over time. And that's like the biggest kind of mindset thing I think you need to be aware of and need to be thinking about when you're playing against Doctor Doom. Is it's not a fight where you're just going to hop on him and fight him to the death. It's going to be a fight where, you know, you get damage on him, kite back away, regen your fuel, reload your gun, heal if you have to, go in for another attack, get like a bit more damage, and kind of rinse and repeat this over time. Like the entire time you're playing the fight versus Doctor Doom, I think you need to be playing to stay alive, to not run out of jetpack fuel, and to get damage on him when you can. It's not going to be a situation where you just melt him entirely. Maybe in squads, if you have 4 people all like focus firing him, you can melt him very quickly. But from like a solos perspective, I think you need to be playing your life more and then just damage him over time. Because if you guys don't know, Doom can't heal from healing items. He pretty much only heals from eliminating opponents, which he'll get 200 health from. Or maybe some of like the cactus or slurp barrels he can also use. But his primary source of healing comes from eliminating other players. So, and he gets 200 siphon per elim. The Doom player has 500 health and 500 shield. So if you just, you know, damage him over time and he isn't getting eliminations to regenerate his health, which he probably won't be able to get much because the lobby is typically very dead by the time Doom spawns. Like by the time 4th zone comes around in a public match, the lobby is usually not very populated. And then when Doom Island happens, a lot of people are going to go for that and fight on that, and that's going to make the lobby even like lower. So most of the times I've had to fight against Doom where I just let people get it so I can fight against him, there's not very many people left alive in the lobby for him to heal off. So it basically is just like, can I stay alive long enough to do enough damage to him over time to eliminate him? So that's why my mindset is just like kind of play safe, play your life. If you get 200 damage rather than 350, it's not the end of the world. Like, you know, like you will eventually eliminate him over time. You just got to play your life. And the longer you're able to survive and the more time you have to deal damage to him, eventually he will run out of HP and die. So just, you know, try to play range as much as possible and melt him with ARs. Stay off the ground as much as possible. And whenever he gets too close to you, just completely try to get away with your double mobility. And that's what I found to be the easiest way to deal with Dr. Doom. One final thing I want to talk about, though, is if there are other enemy players remaining, what do you do? Because a lot of people are going to be of the mindset that everybody should just team up on Dr. Doom, and that's the way things should be. And that's great in an ideal world. If everyone just kind of agreed to ignore each other and fight Dr. Doom, things would be a lot easier. But that's not always the case with Fortnite players. So I would advise to not trust them too much. A lot of players, if they see you in a sticky situation, they might just want to get the kill anyways, or not be thinking that much about Doom. They just panic. So keep in mind that you may have to defend yourself and you may have to eliminate enemy players if you're trusting them too much and just putting yourself in situations where you're only worried about Doom. Then you are making yourself an easy target. And another thing to keep in mind is that you may want to eliminate these other players because that is the way that Doom gets health. So that is also something you kind of need to balance. Like, I would like to have somebody just melt Doom with me. That'd be great. But if it looks like they're about to die to Doom anyways, I would rather put the final shot on them. That way, Doom doesn't get the health from that, and I don't have to worry about getting third-partied from them later. So that was just one thing I kind of wanted to keep to mention, that you might want to eliminate these other players just so Doom can't. Especially if they're AI players, if you know the difference between AI and regular players, I would just go ahead and kill any AI. That way Doom can't get health from them later on. But that is going to be it for this video. It's much easier said than done, but as long as you stay calm, manage your jetpack fuel, and kind of keep range versus him, you can eventually eliminate him over time because a lot of his attacks don't work that well if he's not like right on top of you or if you're in the air. If you enjoyed this, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more. If you hate Dr. Doom, he'll be leaving on October 5th, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.